Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Convention Confessional. My name is Katy Hunt, and I'm here to guide you through the good, the bad, and the ugly of the convention world. And it is the end of the year, 2021. Thank God, because I don't think it was much better than 2020. The only good thing that came out of it was my podcast. I'm sure there's some other stuff too, but right now we're focused. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being here and downloading and listening and being guests. And it's been a crazy, wild couple of months. Like, I started this project kind of as a let's see what happens thing, and it got much bigger than I ever anticipated. And it wouldn't be any of that without all of you. So, thank you. So I decided that we're not a full year in yet. We still have a few months till we hit our official year mark as a podcast. But I wanted to give all my friends a break for the end of the year because it's the holiday season. And I went back through to look at some stuff and realized that you guys have some favorites as far as downloads go. So I thought it'd be fun to have an episode where I talk about what the favorites are the first 40 something episodes of the podcast. We have a top 10 list with a couple honorable mentions. So we're just going to dive right into it because I love it. I think it's funny. Like, it's a good array of different episodes, like different people and things. So we're going to start with our honorable mentions that were close to making the top 10 as far as downloads go, by like literally a download, and I don't want them to be unrecognized. So, honorable mention number one is episode 35 with our guest Kate, the Romeo and Juliet episode. That was the Oticon episode with the children that snuck off together. uh, Probably just to watch Masquerade, but it literally sounded like a bad rewrite of Romeo and Juliet. Mother not happy, sneaking off into the night. Oh man. That's episode 35. I suggest you check that one out, definitely. And also honorable mention would be episode 34, Weekend at Bernie's, with our guest Patrick D. Yeah, and that was the episode during Halloween week, month actually. Halloween's more than a week. Where he talked about the different crazy things that happened at the convention, including a lot of people dead. Not good. Diseases growing out of conventions in Philadelphia, and one of the doctors passing away at a convention in Atlanta. It's quite the episode because up until that point, we've talked about bad things that happen at conventions, but literally that was quite an episode of things that are bad that happen at conventions, and I recommend it because it's probably the most shocked on the show I've been so far, hearing things. And also, it's always a good time talking to Patrick and talking to Kate. So congratulations, you guys. Honorable mention, you literally missed it by like a download to make the top 10. But please go check out their episodes because they're wicked good. So let's just dive right into it. The top 10 of 2021 for Convention Confessional. Number 10 is episode 36, Undercover Boss, Legends of the Hidden Temple. That was our guest Jess. Now, I'm having coffee because I deserve coffee. It's been a long ass holiday season. This episode talked about DragonCon and a lot of things. We talked about a lot. Jess and I, once we get on this podcast, just go. But the highlight of the episode comes from the title, where my friends have a huge Legends of the Hidden Temple group, which is so much fun. I have not yet had the chance to team up with them to do that because it always happens at DragonCon, and every time I've tried to go to DragonCon, there's been some world crisis or crisis with me. It's probably the universe telling me that I shouldn't go down there, but it sounds like such a good time. But here I am listening to the universe. Someday I will make it to Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, and it talked about, them meeting up with someone who had actually been on the show, that stupid silver monkey. Their group is great for that. It's so much fun. I think Legends of the Temple is one of like the best TV shows out there, especially from the 90s. Trivia and temple guards and a big talking rock wall that tells you either suck or you don't. Keeping it real, man. So that is your number 10 downloaded episode of this year. And again, episode 36, highly recommend it. Here we go. We're moving on to episode 2, which hits our number 9 spot, Elevators, am I right? And that would be Miss Elizabeth. She was our first guest. Just came back on recently after a very busy few months for all of us. But she was our first guest, and it's made me so happy to see that her episode had been downloaded enough to make the top 10 list because, sometimes you do a podcast and, you have so and so many episodes. You think that the ones that you made originally just kind of, they get downloaded at first and then people kind of forget about it. But then I don't remember that, some people are just finding the podcast for the first time. And they actually start at the beginning. Who would imagine that? Starting at the beginning. I mean, we don't really have like a series per se of episodes. It's all kind of random stories here and there. So you can really listen to the podcast however you want to. But it just made me so happy to know that people are still going back and downloading the crap out of that episode too. Also talked about Dragon Con. Lots of elevator stories. Also helping out a bridesmaid at a wedding during convention, because who do you ask when you've ripped your costume but a cosplayer to help fix it? In this case, someone's wedding day. So Elizabeth being a hero, like usual. But yeah, no, I love that episode. Funny enough, Jess also recalls part of that episode later on in another episode talking about the elevator drop, which, I mean, honestly, convention or not, I don't want to think about an elevator plummeting or falling or acting up and being stuck in a tin can. Thank you very much. Like, there's a million other things that I could think about that I'd want to do any day of the week, and plummeting in a elevator or being stuck in one does not rank anywhere on my list. So, coffee is the best. So episode 2 is number 9 on our list. And again, go check it out. Go check out all the episodes. I mean, here I am plugging, but really, go check out all the episodes. We've only got like 40 of them. That's not bad as far as podcasts go, right? Let's see. Number 8 on our list is episode number 3, Legend of the Missing Dating Game. And that would be Mr. Ryan Pagella as our guest. He was a second guest on the show because it's episode number 3. And it was a good time. I mean, we got talking about all of our past Kineticon scandals and good times, all the dating games that we did. And you know what? It still bothers me to this day. I mean, I've said it enough in the episode. I'm saying it again. There has to be footage of that first and that last dating game we did together somewhere, because the first one was so good. And here's the thing. We've talked about it for years and years and years about how like the Torchwood dating game was one of the best dating games we ever did. And it was funny and it was a good time and we had good characters. Now that it's been, let's see, what was that? 2009? Yeah. 2009, so that was 12 years ago. I guarantee we ever find the footage for it, we're gonna go, what the hell is wrong with us? It's like one of those things you like feel in high school, like, this is the best thing we're ever gonna film in our lives. It looked amazing. It sounded so good. And then you find the tape later on and you watch it and you're just like, wow, the crack we were smoking or taking or whatever, like, damn. And I don't ever, maybe it's better that I can never find that like again, because honestly, like, I don't want that disappointment. In my mind, it was one of the best dating games we ever did. And I'm just going to convince myself of that and let it live on in my memories for the rest of my life. But what makes me the most upset is that we did the dating game for the last time in 2014 and it was Glee themed, and I fought for it because everyone was like, oh, I don't know if Glee's popular. I'm like, you don't think Glee's popular. It was like literally at the height of its like prime right there. And everybody was just so excited that it was happening that no one recorded it. I'm sure the convention recorded it at some point, like the big cameras, like whatever, but we never saw the footage for it again. And that was also one of those things where it's like I put a lot of work into that, and we did like a music number on stage because it was Glee. Obviously, like people had to do like musical numbers. And it just makes me sad because I would love to see that one again, just for like the beginning of it and the ending of it. You probably hear me screaming when I came off stage for it because the kid messed up our cues after a very long night of rehearsal and telling him he better not screw it up. And he still did. So it's fine. We're not bitter. That was what, 7 years ago? It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. We're moving on. So that episode 3 is our number 8 slot. Number 7 slot would go to episode 11, Dad Jokes. And that's our friend Joe. Yay! And again, so happy that this one made the list too. That was a really fun episode. I love talking to Joe. Joe and I are good friends. We met through his wife, Lindsay, years and years ago before they even got married. We've cosplayed together. We've done shows together. And it just, he's such a good guy, honestly. Joe, I hope you're listening to this because you're such a good guy. Love working with him. AC, we did the doctor and the, that guy. Master. God. Sorry, it's early. We're recording this. It's early. Just trying to get this episode done so we can enjoy the rest of our holiday week. Anyways, yep, the Doctor and the Master. And then my favorite, obviously, is his Crowley that we did for one of our dating games for Supernatural. He was such a great Crowley, and I knew he was having such a good time with it. And he's got one of those voices. It's very deep, very that's my Joe impression, just in case you were all wondering. One of those deep, awesome voices that I just could never ever do because my voice is so high. And he plays such good characters. He's, smart as hell, working all of the stuff for Anime Boss and fixing the website, the webmaster and all that. And a dad who tells very poor dad jokes. But we love him. So yeah, episode 11 is our number 7 spot. Thanks, Joe. It was a great episode. All right, here we go. Number 6 on the list goes to episode 18, AWA 1999, and that was our guest, David Merrill. I've never met David in real life, but he was such a pleasure to talk to, and we lamented about terrible masquerades together, because Lord knows we've all been there. His sounded like it almost turned into a riot, and I can't say that mine ever got that bad. I don't think we've ever had a riot at any of ours, but oof. I feel for him. It's hard. It's hard entertaining a crowd of people. It really is. You get nervous. Everyone's like, oh, do you get nervous? And it's yeah, kind of, but you don't want to admit that because, you show your fear and they're all over you. They're like, oh, we sense you're scared. It's huh? I mean, I still get nervous in front of Anime Boston. That's a really big crowd of people, and it's a lot of different age groups in that crowd of people that you have to impress. Some conventions I've worked for, the age group is pretty solid, younger group of people. So you have to play to those different people the best that you can. But I gotta say, he takes the cake for bad masquerades. So I would definitely listen to that episode if you want to hear a story. But such a nice guy. Love the episode. And it was fun listening to something from, the before times. Because I didn't really start conventions until about 5 years after 1999. And it's just crazy to me, conventions happen for so long. And I mean, they've always kind of been a big thing. But, as your life goes on, you realize things have been a thing for a lot longer than you've been. And I encourage, if anybody's ever been to a convention, anytime before even 1999 and wants to talk about, the good old days, hit me up. Because I would love to hear more about it. It's always nice to hear about different conventions experiences. That's what we're here for. We want to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what was it? Recently, I just saw something come up where this girl had made a Star Wars costume for her Halloween costume by going to go see Star Wars 60 times to get the details for the costume. It's that's what they did back in the day. Now I can just Google search an image. It's that's wild. Not saying that I wouldn't have done it if I was back then. I'd be yeah, if I was costume driven enough, in the 70s, 80s or whatever, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. All right, gonna go see Star Wars, gotta make a Vader costume. So let's see, that's episode 18 in our number 6 slot. We're moving on to our number 5 slot, episode 7. So you want to work conventions, and that is Doug. Doug is also a member over at Anime Cons TV, as well as Elizabeth. Actually, forgot to mention that before. But Doug's on over there, and we got talking about how he got working at Anime Boston, and that's such a good episode. I mean, like I said, I love listening to people's stories about how they get involved in things. It's sometimes it happens because you volunteer yourself, and sometimes it's a happy accident. I mean, sometimes it's a happy accident, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're wait, I've been working for this convention for the last 8 hours. Oh, okay. But yeah, no, Doug tells a wonderful story about going to his first con and then getting involved, and now here we are, all working at the same place, Anime Boston. Such a good time. And working for like Anime Cons TV and things. Like we really got into it in that episode. It was fun. It's a good episode. Doug's been on the show a couple of times talking about different aspects of like working into conventions and things like that. Panels and staffing and security things, and such a good time. He's a wealth of little knowledge, that one. He's been doing the convention scene a little bit longer than I have, not too much longer though. So if you want to hear any info about that, I would check out all of Doug's episodes because they're very informative and funny, and they're such good stories. I love having Doug on here. I'm sure I'll be having Doug on here again because at some point I've promised him we're going to talk about like Star Wars and Stormtroopers. He's a member of the 501st, which is a big deal. I don't care. I'll tell everybody. Anybody that's part of Alderaan Base or like 501st, it's a big deal, and I'm proud of you guys. All right. Let's see. Okay, so now we're moving into the top 4, which I'm very proud of the top 4. They're some of my favorite episodes, actually. I mean, I love all of the episodes. I'm very biased. I love all of them. Like, I love all of my children. I do. But actually, like, I was going through going, I wonder what is going to be, like, top 4. And I was like, oh, you know what? It makes sense. Now, it just felt right that these were, like, the top 4 episodes. I don't know why. They're, like, some of my favorite downloads, too. So number 4 is episode 17. I tripped and I punched a tree. And that's our friend Meg. Meg has been going to conventions for a long time, just like me. I've actually judged her costumes a million times, and that's how we met. And now we're friends on top of that, which is very nice. And found ourselves again kind of through my sister and her LARPing group. There's a sentence. And Meg talking about, roommates, bad roommates. The one who busted his hand by punching a tree. Sounds like an anger issue to me. No, Meg is a very talented person. So many beautiful costumes. And we got talking about a lot of that in her episode. It was such a good time. Eventually, she's coming back on here again. This is me shaming you, Meg, because we talked about this. You were going to come on with your friends. It's going to be a new year. Let's make a resolution here, kiddo. It's like, oh no, I've shamed her. I'll never see her again. It's fine. All right. Here we go. Episode 8 is our number 3 spot. It's Raining at Main Stage. That's Michael Lee. Michael Lee, who is the voice of God, aka Tech God, runner of Anime Boston's main events room, told us many a behind-the-scenes story of Anime Boston. One of which was the infamous Raining at Main Stage. I can't do the story justice. Like, you actually have to go listen to the episode to hear what that was about. But it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just the fact that it got pulled off after, like, what happened. Like, the convention went on, and it was like it never happened. But, oh man, it happened. And then, of course, talking about, like, the safe that got busted open because it got locked and no one could get it, and call somebody from the police department to come on in. Like, damn. But also, Michael's been one of those people that's worked at Anime Boston for so long. He has a lot of behind-the-scenes stories. And it was so nice talking to him and not hearing him announce my name over the intercom announcing me for once. It's like I actually got to put a face to a name. I think I've met him a couple times, but we actually got to like sit down and talk and not talk about like convention stuff at the time of the convention, if that makes any sense. It wasn't all business. It was just like a casual friend talk. And that was our first time. So that was nice. So that's episode 8. And that is our number 3 spot. Here we go. We're into the top 2. Now, number 2 is, if there was a drum roll, I might find a drum roll effect right here. Drum roll. Number 2 is episode 14. Neefy. Whoo! What I've come to decide is that people love drama. And that's why these episodes are the top 2 episodes. I'm not going to announce number 1 yet, obviously. But Neefy is a very drama-filled episode. It's one of our longest episodes, actually, where we talked about a convention in Massachusetts that no longer exists. And it was a weekend, let me tell you. So much scandal, so much behind-the-scenes drama, so much feeling like we were going to be in trouble. So much bitterness comes out of that convention. And again, it was 2009, so it was like a lifetime ago now, but I mean, it wasn't good. It was not. It was not a good weekend. Highlights, of course, of good things, meeting people, guest stars, but even some of those guest stars, not good. Leonard Nimoy, getting to meet him was probably the highlight of my entire weekend that weekend. Ending up on his Christmas list for many a year until sadly he passed away. But it, don't get involved in conventions that feel shady. Get out of it. Is basically the moral of that story. If it doesn't feel good, go home. Just go home. We should have just gone home. We didn't. We didn't. We were young and stupid, and we were like, no, we can change it. No, we can't change it. There was nothing to change about that. It died in a fire. Um, if you would like a super duper drama episode, I highly recommend listening to episode 14. It's a good time, but you're going to need a coffee and a Xanax by the time you're done. So, warning on that. Here we go. Top episode of the year so far. The end of year for 2021. The big one. The number one. The spot. The episode that has over 100 downloads. Right now holding at 105 downloads. Your number one most downloaded of 2021 is episode 12, Dead Moon Circus. That's right. Jess holds the number 10 spot and the number 1 spot for downloads because, again, you bitches like drama. Now, the Dead Moon Circus episode was basically Jess and I just rambling off about a weekend where we won Best in Show at Anime Boston for a skit we did, Sailor Moon based with the villains, called Dead Moon Circus. Ended up being our dance group name for a couple of years while we competed with it. It was so good. It was such a good skit. And I'm sorry, again, I'm being biased because I was in it, but we killed ourselves for that skit. And I feel like, as a group, we kind of set the bar for what convention skits at Anime Boston are now, because the skits at Anime Boston are amazing these days. Back in the day, they were good, and then we came on and we did our thing, and it was like, okay, I feel like we did a really good job. But then, like, after that, like, the dance skits got really good, and, like, all of the, like, it's so good. I feel like we revolutionized a little bit. Toot toot. Toot toot, kids. I can say that because I was there, and I won, damn it. But yeah, we talked about all the drama behind the scenes for it, and like the people we worked with, and like stuff that happened the night before, and the people that are gross at conventions that like took pictures of our boobs, because I mean we're dressed up in Sailor Moon costumes of some kind, so obviously like there's very little fabric involved because that's just how Sailor Moon costumes are. Some of us should be in more fabric, myself included, but overall, it was a really good, weekend, and it was a really nice time. And I mean, winning Best in Show at any convention is like such a high. And it was awesome that I got to do it with some of my best friends. And I think that's what I take away from that more than anything else. And yeah, so it's just me and Jess talking about what a great experience it was. And, being with friends that, some of them are still friends, and, stuff happens. Life moves on, as they say. But that's our number one episode. And again, it had a little bit of everything. It had drama, it had suspense, it had action, it had everything. Go listen to it. Episode 12, Dead Moon Circus. And that's it, guys. That is our top 10 list with honorable mentions for 2021. I just want to take this time right now to say thank you so much, everybody, seriously, for humoring me with this podcast. Everyone out there for downloading and listening and being on the show and helping a girl out. And I mean, again, it's one of those things that I always say that I should have started like last year during the actual beginning of the pandemic, because I could have trapped some people down and probably had some more episodes by now. But you know what? I feel like for what it is this year, it's gone good. It's been great. It's been quite the learning experience, and I can't wait to keep going with it. So, that being said, if you would like to be on the show, please send me a message on our Facebook. I've tried asking all of my friends that I can think of, but if you have friends that have stories, send them my way. Please. Like, this show is such an open space for anybody to tell their story and talk about things, and that's all I've ever wanted it to be, is just, let's talk about experiences so we can share them and maybe even protect the future. Just be like, God, please don't do this. It sounds like a terrible idea. We did it back in the 2000s, and well, we're still alive, but that doesn't mean anything. Also, have a contest going. We're trying to get to 3,000 downloads by the end of the year, and at this point, that's 5 days away. And we are a little under 450 downloads left. And I mean, I don't reasonably see that happening in 6 days. So we're going to extend the giveaway out to whenever we hit 3,000 downloads. It would be nice to get it in 6 days, but I mean, 400 downloads, that's like 10 downloads an episode for the next 5 days. I don't see that happening unless you get 10 friends. See, 10 people to download 10 episodes in 5 days. That's math. Is that going to work? Yeah, it'll work. It'll work. So if we hit it, we hit it. If we don't, we don't. But the winner will be getting a convention badge on me to their next convention, when the world isn't as gross next year, hopefully. So yeah, download those episodes, and by the time we hit 3,000, one of you is going to be a contest winner. So that's exciting. Let's see, what else? I have a book. It's a really good book. And again, talks about more convention experiences, life experiences, a little bit of everything for everybody. Again, who am I writing an autobiography? I know, but I've been through it. And I just want to help people that have also been through it. So it was a love project, 7 years. I'm very proud of it. Hopefully, when the world opens back up again, we'll be able to bring it to some conventions and share it with everybody a little bit more. But you can find the book on Amazon right now. That Could Have Gone Worse: Life Lessons from a Dinosaur Cosplayer by Katy Hunt. I very much recommend buying and or downloading it. And let me know what you think. Guys, it's been a crazy 2021. Again, thank you all for being here for it. We will see you in the new year. Take care of yourselves. Have a great one. Enjoy your holiday season. I hope you enjoy this episode. I know it's not the norm, but it just felt right after the year we've had for everybody to just take a break. And yeah, there it is, the top 10 of this year. Go download. See you later, guys. Good night.